Instagram.
Okay, so I need to go to Instagram.
Hi everybody. We're live here with everybody on Facebook and YouTube. We're definitely trying to get Instagram as well going, so give us just one moment.
Okay.
How's everybody doing? I see we already have some people on with us. There we go. I'm live on Instagram as well, so I'm just trying to get Ayub on our Instagram here so that we can be live together.
We are alive.
We are alive and we are live.
Okay, so
there we are. Yay.
You know, I love Instagram.
Ayub is my here we go. Here he comes on with us. So we're live on Instagram. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube as well. And the video is just thinking on Instagram for whatever. You said I love Instagram, and the video just started going.
Is it freezing right now? Okay, so make sure, is it freezing or it's moving?
It's circulating here. I'll show you real quick.
Okay.
Right there. You are my Instagram.
Yeah, so maybe it's a bit connection from my side. We can do it again.
Let me wave at you. Maybe that'll help. It says it's telling your followers that you've started a live and telling you to join. Let me try again.
I'm gonna try to request again.
There it is. I'm requesting you again. Everybody, the funny part is usually it takes us forever to get on Facebook. There we go. Now we're on Instagram live, both of us. Yay! So Kim's on. We have Kim on for Facebook Live, and she's saying, "I love the lives." You guys, we're watching your comments. We're here on Instagram Live. We're here on Facebook as well. So as we get everything going and started, we're just trying to get everything adjusted as well, because we've got different cameras and angles that we're looking at. So bear with us as we're live on both, right? You know, I have the beautiful pleasure of introducing an amazing friend, a valiant soul, and somebody who has gone through his own healing journey in so many beautiful ways with so much love and so much light. And I feel very honored to call you a beautiful friend of mine, but Ayub Yosef here to talk about relationships and energies. And we're going to be talking about it on all different levels, all different platforms. And we want you guys to be a part of this. Share your energy, share your love, share your light with us. Be a part of this conversation. We're watching the comments as well, but we want to share journeys with you, but we also more so as well want to share healing tools with you. So let's talk. You know, for me, I'm an MD, went from medical doctor to multidimensional healer, and that's why I started Enlightened Circles, and I work with so many different formats and different ways, Ayub. But you as well are a light worker and a healer as well. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself and what you do and how you do it and why you're here.
Okay. Thank you. It's my pleasure to be with you today, guys, at Enlightened Circles. So my name is Ayub Yusuf. Like my profession is a financial engineer. But my passion, my life mission is actually to be of service, sharing what I call my wisdom, and I will talk about it how later. So basically, going through some work-related stuff and then relationship issues back in 2018 led me to start questioning life and start asking a lot of questions. And then I took a break. And then I went into this journey of soul searching, but also learning from various teachers, and most importantly, connecting to my center and finding the right answer for me, like myself. Who am I different than being a financial engineer? Who am I different than being a guy coming from Africa to live in Canada? So that led me to starting my podcast, Say No to Suffering, and start my journey as a transition and purpose guide, because I have a deep belief that everyone has the right to have abundance of well-being. And when I say well-being, it's all the aspects from financial, from health, which is more important to me, and also peace of mind. And then when I went deeper into what actually caused people to suffer, relationships are actually a big part of it. Tony Robbins called it, relationships are the juice of life. It's either the source of tremendous pain or the source of a tremendous joy. And I asked the question, why shouldn't be, why it I not asked the question, I actually said the intention. I said it has to be a source of joy for me and everyone. So I coach now. I like working with men, but also I wrote an ebook that I will release soon, which is to me a path to peace of mind and happiness and mastering what we call the dating life, in short.
Well, and we're talking about dating life and so many things that get started. And I want to hear from you guys in your comments. I see some of you are already commenting, like Kimberly and Bernadette on here with us from Facebook Live. And there's a bunch of you also watching. But Ayub and I wanted to kind of get into this whole thing at first as well. What's our whole reason we even start for relationships? So you're talking about like your ebook and dating, but why do we even start to even look for relationships? And a lot of times it's because of we're also searching for what's within or what's not within. But what are your thoughts on that with the book you've written and your own experiences as well?
So there are various reasons maybe for people to start relationships. We have, if two bodies want to be together, we call it sex. If two minds want to be together, we call it companionship. If two souls decide to be together, we call it love and union. In another word, we call it yoga. So I want to focus with this last part, union. What means is actually going back to center, going back to one. How this universe has started is started from the center. And then we have the two dimension, the plus and minus, but also the positive, the male and female. Each one start going into one direction, and then at certain moment they realize, oh, I am far from center. So they start trying to go back to center by actually connecting to the other polarity, which is either male or female. So that's the main reason, which is actually it's a trial to go back to center. But unfortunately, it goes so fast, because if we have center here, and then we have feminine here, and now we have masculine here. So if someone try to connect to the other, they will bypass the center super fast, and that's actually one of the sources of problems in relationships.
Well, and I agree exactly with what you're saying. And I'm going to take it one step forward as I try to get this other camera working, because we got like two cameras going over here between Instagram and the regular computer cameras. But I agree with what you're saying. But we also have this whole other aspect as well called meditation, which goes with center. And we're talking about relationships and energies, right? And meditation means being being in the center, being centered with who you are and what you are, which is exactly in correlation and relationship with what you were just describing and talking about. And so how do you see, because we were talking about self as well, and we're going to get into the hurt about it, you guys. We want to get real. We want to, we're not here just to like, oh, it's so great, there's books involved or there's this or that. Ayub is a real person with a real heart, a real soul, with a real journey that he's been through. So am I, and so many of you guys are. So a lot of times we're in this search for our center. And I love how you talk about the differences of calling it versus like sex, love, why, when we want to just connect bodies, when we want to just connect minds, when we want to connect souls. How do we start to even connect with ourselves for that self-love?
Yes. So unfortunately, people, we all have this code in our DNA, which is actually you must know yourself. And then people, they get distracted. because of the lifestyle that we have had all over this year. Look, like we have social media, we have entertainment, we have schools, we have work, we have to succeed, we have to be better than the others, etc. So we actually move away from our center, and then we connect into relationships from the wrong spot first, and that creates problem. However, a wise step should be actually knowing yourself, knowing what you want, knowing your values, set your intention. I actually have a 6 step that I call it clarity in my ebook. Before you talk about relationships, before you want to go to talk to a guy, smile to a guy, or flirt with a woman, talk to yourself first. And I have them ordered in my ebook. And the first one, I will say, what is your intention? Why do you want to be in a relationship? What type of relationship do you want? There are too many.
Yeah.
Like, do you really like that person? What are the reasons you like that person? You set your attention, and that actually will help you go back to your center.
Okay, well, that's I think that's something important for all of us to know and to talk about. And we talk about you and I were talking even before this. So many people have gone through breakups in different ways or different, whether we've been the one that been cheated on or we have been the person who cheated. And you and I put a video out there as well that came up in my memory 2 years ago. A friend of mine had posted it on Facebook. And at that time, I had a lot of different clients and different people going through breakups that had been either cheated on, or divorces that have been cheated on, men or women. And a lot of people still trying to find themselves. And I also put a comment on there saying, like, this video goes further than just relationships, like romantic relationships. This video is talking about life as well, right? In general, with every aspect of our relationships, whether it be our relationship with work, our relationship with ourselves. What do you say to all these people? How do they get back to their center, or even find their center that maybe they didn't have, especially after something of being cheated on, or even that cheater? Because the cheater needs to come back to themselves and find their healing so that they're not doing that again. I mean, I know I had it happen to me recently in my life. So what are some of the things, and you've shared some of your stories as well with people, with what you discuss and what you talk about, and I'll get into mine as well. How do you get people back to that center?
Okay. Yeah. First, I'm sorry this has happened to you. So if it happens, yes, it hurts. It is not something great that someone, it comes with physical pain, emotional pain, and all type of confusion. However, I need to emphasize one false premise here. People think that when they go into a relationship, that relationship is absolute. It is not variable. However, everything is variable in life, and you will be betrayed today or tomorrow, because even if you will stay with your partner for life, one of you will die. What you will call it that time? It's a certain different type of betrayal. So I need first to make the client, or the person I am working with, reconcile with the fact that everything is variable in life. Nothing is absolute. You actually have met that person for a reason. And I can talk later about 3 main reasons we meet others. But now you have talked about cheating. First, I need to define what is cheating. Because to me, cheating is not actually getting physical with someone. That would be actually the last stage. For me, cheating is the fact that you entertain the idea in someone else's mind that possibly one day you will be together. It means you are with your current partner, current boyfriend or current girlfriend, and you are already sending mixed signals to another person that will help them entertain the idea of you being together one day. And here is, I can tell, if you are actually a well-centered person The moment your partner start drifting, you will notice it right away. Because when you are in a relationship with someone, you have um, you have a deeper connection emotionally, physically, spiritually. I am personally an empath, so whatever happens to the person, I feel it. When a person looks at their phone and they get emotion, I feel it. So for me, it's easy. So, but I'm saying to people, all of us have that inner compass, that inner knowing that which is actually feelings and emotion. And if the more you get connected with your center, the more you purify, what we call, the more you heal, the more the water, let's say, gets silkier, and you will start noticing the small moves, the small cues that something is happening. Now, let's say that it is too late right now. Your partner has cheated on you. To me, it means the end of the relationship. That's one. Because if you have a little bit of self-love to yourself, you gotta stop there. Here's the reason why. If you are in love with someone, you must be able to wish them happiness. If someone has cheated on you, they are not happy with themselves and they're not happy with you at the same time. So why I should actually try to cling and try to keep them with me? I need to let them go. That is love. If I'm actually trying to force someone to stay with me, that is attachment. And I always say to my client this one question that I use myself. I ask this question: is my partner happy with me, or they will be happier with someone else? If the answer they will be happier with someone else, I have to let them go with love.
I agree.
So the fact that you actually reconcile with this concept, it will help you in healing from cheating. Okay. Then comes forgiveness. The concept of forgiveness, it is not related to others. It's actually really related to yourself. So when you forgive someone, you basically heal in part in yourself and heal in part in the shared subconscious mind of all the humanity. So basically, if you don't forgive, you are drinking from a poison, and you are wishing that your ex-partner will die with it.
I agree 100%. I mean, I have many clients who have been through this process. I had never really been through this process in the past. Whenever a relationship was going to end, it ended with love. It ended with amicably, even with friendships, just because there was honor to each other. It just wasn't necessarily maybe working the way it could or should. And so the difference is just of not being the right companionship made itself clear. And then as I've slowly shared with people, I mean, it's not something that I just went out all over the world and said, like, guess what? This happened to me, because there's no need to. But I think it is a point to be honest. I myself am going through a divorce because somebody else chose other pathways. And that's their choices. But like you, I'm an empath, and like you said, it doesn't have to be that people physically have done something, the physical cheating. You're already starting to cheat when you're already proposing an idea to somebody else or entertaining somebody else's idea. You're exchanging that energy. And this is what we were talking about. We're going to talk about relationship and energies, because when you're choosing not to just entertain that romantic, loving, intimate energy with that person you promised to do it with, we are now exchanging that energy with somebody else in the way that we had stated that we would not do, right? So we cross those boundaries, even though maybe not physical, we can cross them energetically. And it happened to me, but I was where I have been centered. I had done my work on myself. I am an empath as well, and I could see this and feel this, but I was also giving him his room to process and make his decisions in a loving manner for him, because I had allowed for the growth to occur for him and the person that he is. And when I became aware, physically aware by whatever formats it may be, that this was going on, I very easily was able to be completely centered, be completely out of love and integrity, and honor that separation. Honor that separation with love, to the point where I packed everything up that was his with love, with integrity. And I felt like I had completed my soul contract with that person. You know, there's the legal part that goes along with it, that's a process and you can't always control that. But the soul contract for my highest good and my highest purpose, for my learning, had been done for his highest good and highest purpose. And this is where I agree with exactly what you're saying, but I also want to tell people, I believe it's not that important to keep cycling those same stories. It's not that important to keep cycling that same negative energy, because now, even it doesn't matter if someone else was to blame, you're now to blame for allowing that to enter your life. You're to blame for allowing that negative energy continuing cycling within, that's disturbing your center, that's disturbing your energy path. And it takes it, you create more energy blockages, and it takes a lot longer to heal. And it's not just emotional healing from the relationship, it's just healing for all of your life. Because when we have one energy blockage, it affects so many other things in our life. It affects business, it affects family, it affects so many different things. And the longer we hold on to it, remember, it's your choice to hold on to it. So I love how you say we deserve to release it with love, because that's something that for me, instantaneously, it happened. It's like I received the message. It was before the physical cheating ever came in. And it was like, this is time, this is done. And okay, just release it with love and let's move on for the highest purpose and highest good. And be what it may. But that's where I send love, I send light, I send healing light to him, for him to eventually find himself, his center, and everything else. Because a lot of times when we're searching for relationships, we're searching for our inner self anyways, and we're not always all centered. So we deserve to be centered. So I encourage each one of you out there, like Ayub was saying, be centered with who you are, because you talk about whom do we attract? And I think we should get into that, because that's part of, and don't ever feel guilty. I want to put a preclusion out here. A lot of people put guilt on themselves sometimes after they've had a bad relationship, and they start thinking, well, what did I do to attract that?
Okay. This is an interesting point, and I like it. First, before we move to how we attract, I want to talk about, you should actually forgive in order to remove that from your point of attraction. Otherwise, wherever you move, you take that same vibration with you. And whether I'm coaching someone around a job or around a relationship, I always say you need to take 100% responsibility. So we create our lives, and that's actually your point of attraction. Guess what? If your boss right now is nasty to you and make you work long hours, if you leave right away, you will attract the same circumstances. If your partner right now is not loyal, it's not reliable, there are a lot of things that you don't like in him or in her, and you just leave right away, you will actually, guess what? Attract the same, connect to the same person with the same characteristics, just different faces. Why? Because we are one consciousness. We basically meeting different version of ourselves in different point of attention, let's say. So who do we attract? There is this concept called the 7 mysteries, mystery mirrors of the Essene. So the Essene are one old civilization 500 years before Jesus, and they were actually very knowledgeable in Qumran, Egypt, and they were very knowledgeable, and they were healers, and they actually left tremendous wisdom for people that they use today in the various areas. One of it in relationships, and as soon as they define that, they said people, any person in life, they will interact with people around him following 7 mirrors. And why they call them mirrors? Because it's always a reflection of us somehow. So today I will talk about 3 mirrors, the mirror number 1, 2, and 3, which I think they are most relevant to this case. So first, we attract who we are at the moment. So the person that we see is a reflection of something we have at that moment. So that's the mirror number 1. The mirror number 2, the person we meet is a reflection of something we judge at the moment. And this is a big one, specifically like if, for example, let's say we can call it a judge, or we can call it something you are actually charged on. If, for example, someone comes always late and it gets you mad, and you always fail in setting healthy boundaries with that, you are charged with on that area. Means you judge that it pushes your button. So you will keep attracting people in your life experience. Like a romantic relationship is one tremendous part of it, that you will keep attracting people who push your button. They are there to say, hey, you still have this thing to heal, work on it. And then every moment, either a celebration or a defeat. You're either gonna win and heal it and then go to the next level of the consciousness, or you're gonna fail, and guess what? You break up, and then you meet another person, and then you repeat the same thing. And then we go into that soul path of infinity, always kind of keeping doing the same things and repeating the same path. The third mirror is we attract what we call the mirror of something we have lost, or something we have given away, or something that has been taken away from us. Okay, so all of us in life, we give away part of ourselves in order to survive, or some things we lose them. We go through phases in life, and then we lose certain part of our character. The third one is something could be taken away with force from us. Let's say you grow up in a relationship, abusive relationship with your dad or your mom, so you will be always super pleaser or etc. So you basically lost a part of you. So you will meet someone in your daily life or in your romantic relationship that will remind you of something you have lost. And I can talk about something very personal for me. There was a time I was super energetic, always the center of the party and trying to be friends with everyone, having that great life. And then I went through hard time, and I basically became the opposite, because I was always quiet, trying to understand. And I was more kind of going through a phase where I'm connecting more with who am I. I'm not wearing that mask of the guy who's trying to impress or doing anything. I'm just being present, which I can talk about it, which is something related to embracing divine masculinity later. But there was a time I met a woman, and she was doing that same thing. She was actually the center of the party. She was interacting perfectly with everyone. And bam, there is that magnetic connection.
Yeah.
And then someone say, oh, I was there, and I just look at her or I look at him, and there is this magnetic connection. You can describe it. It's actually one of the mirrors. and the mirror of something we have lost is actually is a big one. I hope that answered your question.
No, it does. I think it goes into it because I know we said we wanted to talk about the mirrors and bring them up because I want to say like some of the things that we're talking about here, obviously they're not all the rules, right? It's not all the rules. It's not everything that always happens. There's so many things that happen for the highest good and highest purpose that might seem like an outlier. Like, but I think it's always important to discuss these things because it'll give you these aha moments. Because it might not be that, well, it was my mirror 1, 2, and 3 that we just discussed, and it was all 3 of them. But there might be something that gives you the aha moment that really understands a little bit more insight of your past. So that therefore you can go into a different place for your future.
Yeah, what I want to do is to avoid compulsiveness. When we talk about mirrors, keep that in mind. So when you meet the next person, sit back, ask question, ask quality question to yourself. Don't go, for example, call it love at first sight from the beginning. Say, what is this person is showing to me? And then you can judge. That's what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I agree with you. I think it's important, Bernadette's saying, wow, so true about the aha moments. And I think that like, there's no rules, there's no set things. Life is so variable. That's something that you and I are both saying, but there are masks. I think it's important to say that sometimes people put on these energetic masks and we don't really know. We think that we are finding the person we found that was a certain way and what they present, and later, a year, 2 years down the road, they present to be something completely, or even a month down the road, they present to be something completely. So, maybe you've done your work, maybe you're completely centered. Maybe you have, even for a job, a relationship with a job, right? With a boss or something in the job you're trying to call in. But what is it when somebody presents to be, you find out later, somebody has presented to be all these things to you, to the public, to everyone else, but this other person has another side to their mirror that they didn't show to you, they didn't show to anyone else, and you were completely just misguided. And so now you come from a place of, I always was an empath and I had great instinct, but how can I be so duped? And how do people get over that fear? Because that's where I think like things come from later, and then they start to build their own guilt, and now they're afraid to get back out there.
Yeah, great question. So we need to go back to one kind of fundamental law. Why people are doing what they are doing? It's one simple answer, like because they want to be happy. So anyone who does something, they are actually doing that thing because they want to be happy. So I'm not going to try to control them in that. I'm not going to try to control their happiness or their actions, because for them, that's their level of consciousness. What happened, has happened and couldn't happen any other ways. Their soul journey, it's their growth journey. And my part as an observer, I need to observe my actions, my reactions, and I need to observe them too with compassion. I'm not here to judge them. I'm not here to say, oh, this is right or this is wrong. It's either my way or the highway, that's actually what we call a first level relationship. I can talk later about the 3 levels of relationship from the masculine and the feminine side. But that's actually what we call in the masculine side, the macho jerk reaction. When you come to your women and you say, my way or the highway, So my answer to that is you need to come with no judgment and compassion, with being good at keeping values, because you don't want to be a doormat at the same time. So because there is a fine line there. So you want to have you want to have compassion. You don't want to judge what your partner doing, or the person you are seeing is doing, because you need actually, because you gotta see that it's actually when you look at that person's eyes, it's basically a soul struggling. It's a soul struggling in its journey, and it's trying to go somewhere, and that soul is thinking that this is the path to happiness. Oh yeah, this is my path to happiness. Maybe I should meet this person, and then I meet the other person, and then etc etc. And then yes, it's true that people can hide who they are for even a year, for the first year of relationship. Would you say, oh, I was deceived? No, you have attracted that. Are you willing to learn the lesson or not? So the next time a similar person comes to your experience, you'll be like, oh, I actually know this type of behavior. I'm not gonna fall for the same mistake now.
Well, and I'll say that I think there's another part to that as well, that not just learning the behavior of so that we're not making the same mistake and creating the same story. I think there's also like behavior for our soul growth. There's lessons for our soul growth. So maybe you're duped, the word they say, right? I was duped. It was disguised. I didn't see it. I didn't know. But how are you dealing with it, right? What are you doing? Because maybe in the past you may have come in and been so angry or aggravated about something, but this time maybe this was part of your soul journey as well. Like you attracted it maybe even from a past life. This is something that maybe we don't even understand, that maybe we didn't attract it from who we are right now in our journey, but it might be something that we're still meant to deal with from a past energy, whether it be from mother, father, auntie, uncle in this lifetime, but a past life, like somebody else genetically, like you said, we were talking about our DNA energy, or even our own past energetic life, that we may have called it in because of that. And in this lifetime, we haven't been that way maybe, but it's still something we're called to deal with so we can learn the lessons. And do we learn them with love and beauty and move on? Or do we start doing like what you're saying? We repeat the cycle. So now, therefore, we really have called it in this lifetime and we're not getting out of it. Do you have any thoughts on that? Because from energy standpoint, energy is not created nor destroyed. It continues, right? It continues on. So since the creation of time, this energy is out there amongst all of us, right? So how have we opened ourselves up to this, even though maybe we've done everything, all that work. We're this beautiful, amazing, loving, centered, happy, energetic person, but we got fooled. And I think that sometimes the bigger lesson is part of maybe our lesson was, how do you deal with this with love instead of maybe the ways you have in the past? Have you really grown? So here's your real test. You have somebody who maybe cheated on you or did something wrong as far as romantic relationship, a boss who fires you and discontinues your work relationship and cuts off your nice figures that you had worked so hard in your life to do. How do you overcome that? How do you get through that? So sometimes there's also a lesson for it, and we go the other way. Instead, we get angry. We feel like someone fooled us. We feel like something went on. We don't look in the mirrors because we're so stuck in our anger. So do you have any tools maybe on some of that, or some ideas as well on how that energy affects?
Yeah. So before that, I see comment on the Instagram live saying there is background noise. Guys, we are live on Facebook, YouTube. So I'm using my laptop. Jessica and phone. Jessica is also doing the same thing. So I'm sorry if there is background noise. You can maybe find it on YouTube, Enlightened Circles, or Facebook, Enlightened Circles. You can also find it on Facebook, Ayub Yusuf page. So it's gonna be better. I know, like, it's annoying when there is background noise, you can't hear. So now you talk about you talked about soul contracts and past lives, and things happen to us. Yes, we have soul contracts. We have contracts from past lives. As I said, we have this, each one has this soul journey. And it's funny, you might have been enemies with someone in a past life. And then they say, you know what? I'm gonna come this time as your lover. Is that gonna make it up? It's clearing karma. So now, in order to go to uh, modality for healing,
Yeah.
so I would say that the first step for healing from that is awareness. The fact that you can point a finger and you say, "Oh, this is what is happening to me," and then now you gotta go deep and try to find sources of that. It may be something that you have lived in this time, and then you in this lifetime, I'm sorry, and then you created a limiting belief around it. You can clear it. You can work with a coach. You can work with a therapist about your past, etc. And you gotta take ownership. You gotta take ownership for what is happening to you. Like myself, one of my favorite healing modalities um, is what we call holotropic breathing. As you said, body uh, and all the cells, they have memories from past lives and from this lifetime. And holotropic breathing, what it does, it just simply by breathing, you actually go and release that stored memories in your body. I have personally used it 3 or 4 times. It's 100% safe. Um, and it actually helps. Another way to do it is actually to believe in people who are skillful, like you, for example, who are healers. But someone like you are a medical doctor and you are a healer at the same time. You basically give the two perspective of what is going on. And that's something I recommend. I think as much as I was deep versed in science, when I actually searched the sources of illnesses, the sources of problems, I found that it's mostly something spiritual. Something has happened. It's a stored memory. It is an expressed potential, and it's better to let it out and let it go.
Yeah, I work with so many people. Like you're saying, I'm a medical doctor, but I've chosen not to practice traditional Western medicine, and instead I've gone to just doing energetic healing and being a multidimensional healer, because I work with so many people in so many dimensions, and we really can go into these past lives, and in this lifetime we can really, truly, truly, truly choose to release all that we've been holding in our DNA, all that we've been holding in our lives. We can really start to release all that as well. And once it's amazing, the power of intention. And once we allow something to occur in our life, because the antonym, the opposite of allow, is to forbid and to deny, right? And so when we're not allowing the energy to work and for the energy to be released, and calling in all that's divine for each and every single one of us in our own way, allowing it to work on our DNA, allowing it to work on our karma, allowing it to work in so many different energetic formats that there are out there, because I work with so many different modalities. It is so powerful, and we really truly can come in to a place of love, a place of light, and a place of beauty for ourselves, but for others as well. And then that's where we really can move into these next levels of business, next levels of entrepreneurship, next levels of romantic relationships, and even like the word out there that's used a lot, not just soulmates, but twin flames. Because soulmates, like you said, it could be that person that maybe you did damage and you were at war with them in a past karmic life. And then in this lifetime, it's like, okay, I'm going to come back this way, and this is how we're going to cause this reoccurrence, but how do you get through it this time? And this lifetime seems like it's so many people, it's more about not having so many wars and everything else. It's about conquering all our soul karma, conquering about everything within ourselves, and how it can really, truly, 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 we can really start to release things and grow into these light bodies, this whole ascension that we truly are and can be. And we deserve to be as well. So that's what we really want to get into in this conversation, and many more to come that Ayub and I will will be doing. So, if you guys have some comments, we want to see them. We want to see the emojis coming up. We want to see all that going on. If you guys are really enjoying this conversation, if you guys are also not just enjoying the conversation, but enjoying the energy, and you're starting to feel the healing power, because each one of you have the potential to start choosing to release right now, just through this, what we're doing. You're seeing the mirror, like Ayub has been talking about, all the different things that he's talking about. And he's going to get into the 3 levels of a relationship, male and feminine as well. But as you listen to him, in new energetic forms. Take your deep breath. Let's all just take that deep breath real quick. Let's get grounded. Because as I could start feeling, as we talk about some of these different things, I could start to feel everyone's different emotions flowing different ways. And you started getting triggered, and we started, and I know Ayub's an empath as well, and a healer and a light worker. So everyone started getting triggered and started remembering and started feeling things. And we kind of allowed you to get there because we want you to really come back into this with a stronger power to make your transformations for you that you deserve to be making. So everybody, let's just take a deep breath, and however it is you get connected with that's divine for you, whatever that name is, just take that deep breath. Get grounded. Get centered. Just bring in that beautiful love. Bring in that beautiful healing light. Allow it to enter into your DNA. Allow it to enter into all your bodies, your energetic bodies, your light body, your emotional body, especially spiritual body. All that you are, and just allow that just to come in, get you grounded, get you connected with all that's the divine, all that you're a part of. There you go. Everyone's starting to release now and feeling better. Now listen with a new intention. Listen with new ways, because as you let this energy in now, these words, as Ayub describes them and vibrates them out through his beautiful energy, will start to work their healing powers as well within you. So what do you got to say about those? Go ahead. Yeah, it is so important.
Yes, Jamie say hello from Facebook. Bernadette, love the energy. Thank you. So here's what I'm gonna say. You asked about healing modalities. I have talked about some. Some of them you need to go to get help or seek help from others. But here is the one and the most powerful. What we call is, and what Jessica has mentioned right now. She said, because I can feel your energy, guys. I am sure that Jessica starts feeling tightness in the chest, and she started trying to open up that with love and breath. So these are the 2 powerful tools that you guys can actually make magic with. So how? The path to healing is the path of the heart. So when we come to center, we start from center, and then there are 2 dimensions. The first dimension, let's call it, we start living that good life. But in order to know what is that good life, in order to value that relationship, we need to live the opposite. We need to go into the what we call suffering. So once I am here in the second dimension, I can look from far, and I can actually see, and I'll be like, okay, so that was it. You won't know that your job was good before losing it, because white and dark define each other's. Tall and short describe each other's. Relationship and non-relationship also describe each other's. So now you have 2 dimensions, and the way in order to make connection with both dimensions is what we call is the path to heart. You are going back to center. So you can say, okay, now I can heal that with love, and then you actually can move us to a different dimension, like a 4th dimension, 5th dimension, when you be like, okay, I was living this, I was living that, I actually got my lesson, and then you go to a different level of consciousness. From going here in this plane, you will go in a different plane, and you will meet different people who are also in a different plane. And this will take me to talk about soulmates. She mentioned earlier, there is a false premise that there is like, I wrote it in my ebook, which I like people to learn this concept, and it's from I personally learned it from Deepak Chopra's teaching. He's a like a well-known MD, and he says that like we live events, life experiences and circumstances, and that will define our values and our perceptions, and each time we will have a different perception for events and circumstances, and that will create a vibration, it will create a frequency. So at that moment you will meet another soul that is vibrating at that same frequency, and that will be, you will think at that time, oh, this is my soulmate. That's your soulmate at that frequency. That's what you need at that time. We talked earlier about the mirrors, so that's, I wanted to correct people. It's a false premise that there is only one soulmate and I have to meet it, or like my life is wasted. I will say no, there are too many beautiful souls.
What are your thoughts on the soulmates, that we could have many, but twin flames? In the energetic world, so many people always talk about twin flames, and basically since the beginning of time, where you first came from, two flame, it was one flame and you broke off, and so you were a twin flame, and that other person's out there and they've gone with you or through you many lifetimes, many different times, different ways, different formats. And sometimes you're here present on this earth, but that twin flame is somewhere else, maybe not even alive this time, but twin flames coming together. Do you have any and maybe it's not something that you've heard of or you're as familiar with, but there's a lot of people right now in the energy world, the spiritual world, talking about not just their soulmates and meeting all their soulmates, but actually finally coming together with their twin flames. And those twin flames, they may have met them, but it's taking like years. Like you may have met them 7 or 8 years ago, and it's like on again, off again, on again, off again. Or one person has grown more energetically and been ready, and the other person has to come up, and vice versa. But a lot of twin flames in this 2020 year are starting to come together and unite. And a lot of them are finding this, listening to each other in new ways that they never heard each other before, because they've come to these new growth stages. Do you have any ideas or thoughts on that as well for people out there?
Okay, so I would say first, like anything I say, any answer I say today, it's either part of my memory or part of my inspiration, and this is not a recommendation. It's not a therapy. It's not a science. I encourage people to listen to various talks, because each one has a puzzle of the truth. However, if a topic I'm not well versed in, I can pass. But I will talk a little bit about twin flame. You said it's related to passion. So what I'm feeling inspired when I thought about this topic. So 2020 is the 2020, the year of the number 4 in numerology. It's a year where people started connecting more to their passion. I have shared this in my Instagram when we started the lockdown. I talked about, don't forget, guys, this is a 2020. We basically were humanity was distracted by staying in. Everyone start experiencing glimpses from their passion, from their life mission and purpose. And some started drawing, some started speaking, some start dancing more. That's maybe why you said, oh, 2020, you can see this type of twin flame relationship start forming.
Yeah, a lot of people are talking about it, that it's happening in the last 2 years. A lot of people started building that momentum and looking and searching for their quote unquote twin flames. And for those of you who don't know about twin flames, like look it up. Like I am exactly like Ayub. Don't just listen to one thing, read a lot, Google things, listen to different people, and find what resonates to your truth within, because there's so much out there. Remember that the truth comes in so many different passages and different formats to each one. And this is something that Ayub and I have discussed ourselves. And this is one of the reasons I love having him on here. He's of that same like mindset where he doesn't want to live just in a box. It's like, let's be open to everything and find out what might work for each one of us individually. as well, that there's so many answers out there in this world. It's not just one way. So definitely look, if you're not familiar with twin flames, everybody that's out there, look it up, because maybe it's a word that I was just getting channeled because it's something that might resonate with one of you that's out there right now listening to this. But a lot of people have been saying, oh, it's been happening, or people have been searching and looking for their quote unquote twin flames. They've met a lot of their soulmates, but they're feeling that drawing attraction to their twin flame.
Yeah.
And so I think, honestly, I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful thing if those of you have found your twin flames, or your other half, that mirror, that now you're coming to that full completion in this life. That's beautiful, because life is this human life, I like to say, is not complete until I go into my life eternal, in a sense, right? But then I finally have done everything I was supposed to do in this lifetime. But if one of them means that you're finding that, whether you call it soulmate, twin flame along the way, like, that is a beautiful blessing and gift. And so super excited for every one of you that's finding that connection out there. You're doing the work that Ayub's talking about. Let's get into, I mean, I know that we've been going here for a little bit, talking, but those 3 levels of relationship, male and female, I really kind of want to touch base on it with some of the people that are out here tonight, so that we can kind of, because I think it's very important to get into that before you start new relationships, because we've been talking about finding your center, finding that self-love, and then that way you can come back into starting a new relationship. But I think these next part is like something really great for us to get into.
Yes. So what I want to say first, I personally wish that everybody meet their soulmates, their a twin flame, because it will be a passionate relationship and they experience that deliciousness. However, connect to yourself first. Find yourself first, and that's actually the doorway to meeting all the other souls. So let's talk about the levels of relationships. So we as a society, we have come like a long way. So we went from a long time where women were in the house and guys are outside working, to guys embracing their feminine in the 60s and having like long hair and dancing in the woods. And then to women actually embracing their masculine and going outside to work and to get direction, to set goals and do that work. However, we actually got stuck in what we call level 2. And then so let's call, so in order for attraction to exist, there must be 2 polarity. And this is true for each type of relationship. It's either heterosexual or homosexual. There has to be a part that will hold the masculine polarity, and a part that will hold the feminine polarity. It doesn't have to be a man or a woman though, but 80% of the cases, men are more masculine and women are more feminine, which is beautiful. And so let's take that example. So what we call the 3 levels of relationship, of relationships from the masculine perspective, it starts with the macho jerk. Someone who's what we call like a hurt masculine, someone who would say my way or the highway, someone who's more prompt to control than to just let it flow. He's someone who didn't balance both energies inside. Okay. And someone who basically still have shells around his heart. It's not that open. The second stage for the masculine, okay, the first stage for the feminine on the counterpart is it's the old style, when what we call it the submissive housewife, a woman who actually thinks of the man is everything and that she has, and she thinks that her life without him is nothing. That's the first level. The second level for the masculine is someone who's trying to start making compromises with the feminine, not saying my way or the highway, but it's more that a wimp. He's not actually deep in presence, and he's not in his center, which is actually the characteristic of the masculine. And now with women raising to the second level, where actually they say, I don't need a man at all, because they actually went out and they take care of themselves financially and spiritually and physically. We basically come into this level right now here where we have women saying, they are complaining men are too sensitive and wimps, and sensitive men are complaining actually it's hard to deal with women right now. So we got stuck there. So now we gotta go into the third level, which is divine masculine and divine feminine. We gotta go to that level of the woman. She's the goddess of love, and she's full of love, and she doesn't accept less than that, and she's here.
And I'm gonna pause you real quick because on Instagram it's saying we have 8 seconds remaining. So you guys can join us live on Facebook, Enlightened Circles, or Ayub Yosef, Facebook, or YouTube. It ended. So it just said, I guess we're
save it, though. You can save it.
Yeah, I'll share to story.
Okay.
But
guys,
I
yeah,
just
we finished this.
Them know so that they can catch us on the other place
Jamie
as well.
says, this is very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just didn't want everyone
absolutely.
on Instagram. If they want to, they can jump on and find us on Facebook and YouTube. So
yeah, so we call it, so the divine feminine is the goddess of love. She's full of energy and radiance, that she can be the CEO of the biggest company in the world, but she still can provide love to everyone. But in the other side, we need to have the third level masculine, who's capable of providing direction to the feminine, because the feminine is flow, it's energy, it's emotion, it's all everywhere. And then masculine need to provide direction. However, he's not gonna accept something less than the incarnation of the divine feminine, which is the pure love. So that's what we call the 3 levels. David Data speaks about that.
So I love, I think is on your phone maybe that the volume was coming in or something, because I hear the feedback more when I speak. So I think it's coming from your side. I'm not sure. But I think, did your volume go all the way down on your media from your phone? I don't hear it now. So I think.
Okay, so my phone, we're done with my phone because I don't use Instagram anymore.
So.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's great. I think we're talking about all this light bodies, right? And that's also in the energetic world. We talk about that going into the ascension. A lot of people are saying going into the 5D world. The reason I call myself a multidimensional healer is, guys, don't limit yourself to just 1 dimension, 2 dimension, 3, 4, 5. There's so many out there, right? And we work in so many dimensions, so many different ways, so many different formats. But it really is important what you're saying. We were at that level 1. We flip-flopped, went to like level 2, but we really now can find the balance between level 1 and level 2, heal everything that was out of balance within ourselves or others, however it might work. And now go into this whole new ascended spiritual type. And I love what you said, that man, there's something that you're saying in there that's really resonating, and it's out here. Somebody who's listening or going to listen, because I always tap in not just to who's out here right now live with us. I end up tapping into people who are going to listen, or the energies even come in before we ever start. But so I want you to talk to this because I think it's very interesting and it's beautiful. That man who right now has done that spiritual work and got into that point where he's not going to accept anything else. Like you were just saying, what were the words that you used, that he's not really going to accept anyone else except for that ascended woman?
He's not going to accept less than the incarnation of the divine feminine, which is pure love, pure joy and pure energy, and pure radiance.
And this man, I'm sorry, women, but you ladies, we can be so judgmental sometimes that man who is at that stage in life can get mislabeled as being narcissistic or a certain way or format. And it's not the true narcissist. The narcissist is really narcissistic. It's about them. It's about everything else. This man, give honor to that person who is really, really, really saying, I have done my work and I am not going to accept anything less. And if he's not accepting you into his life because of that, honor that and clear that pathway, as well as men. If that woman is at that stage in her life, clear that pathway for the person that they are going to accept in. And just like bow down to that and learn from that. Allow that to be your mirror of where you get to go. Allow that to be your mirror of the work we get to do within ourselves, to be at that point as well, where we're not accepting anything else less than that which is all divine into our lives.
This is a great point. Yes. So, and it's an unhealed woman or an unhealed man. He won't be able to interact with a certain, with a healed or someone who's actually at the third level of, let's call it, of relationship consciousness. It's just so scary because it pushes a lot of buttons, and because that person can feel through them and it either open them in love, or either they would just say, no, I'm good.
And knowing that those of you who have been separating a lot, like when there's been a lot of divorces happening because so many people have been doing their inner work, their spiritual work for their own souls and for their own betterment, but also for that higher consciousness. Your partners that are separating off, the divorces, the breakups, a lot of that has also been happening because they're not resonating at that same level. And like you said, they just peel off because at this point you are resonating at such a higher vibrational level. So don't feel so hurt that it didn't work out. Don't feel so hurt that that person was talking to somebody else. Don't feel so hurt as well that there was cheating going on or something else. I'm sorry it happened to you. I'm sorry it happened to you. You didn't deserve that negativity. That was also part of your lesson of making sure you truly are growing into all that's divine and that pure, real love. But that person is not growing with you. So don't get so angry and so hurt and recreate those cycles that you worked so hard to get out of.
Yes.
People ask me, well, why is it that you're not upset about your separation? Why is it that you're not upset about things that are happening in your life? Is it because I feel that person came into my life for my highest good and highest purpose. I came into their life for their highest good and highest purpose. We were both had the opportunity to grow together and ascend and work at that higher consciousness level, ascend these relationship levels. I have chosen, not saying anything bad about him, I chose to ascend into those levels. He had the same opportunity and didn't choose to ascend into those levels. And I just felt like my soul contract was complete. I had so much peace in my heart for myself first in all the right ways with all the right respect and integrity, but I had so much peace and love for him as well to honor his journey, to not be upset, not be angry, not be screaming, not be crying, not be talking negatively about him or anything like that. And I think it's very important. I've been very cautious when to talk about these things or when not to talk about them because you don't want to be recreating cycles. But I think it's very important, as Ayub and I are talking about something so sensitive that so many people have gone through, so many times we start to say, well, what did I do wrong? Or we start to put the guilt on them. If you truly have done your work, and I'm not sitting here trying to say like, hey girls, hey boys, I've done all my work, let's go. We always have work to do, right? But if you've done your work, you really can release with love. And that's something you said at the beginning of the top of this hour and a little bit more that we've been on is we deserve to release with love. And when we can release with love, there is no more of those negative stories coming in. Our karma of all the past gets released. Our karma gets transformed and transmutated into certain things, our body starts to heal. We're not manifesting negativity within our bodies, so therefore we're not manifesting diseases within our bodies. We're not creating cancers. We're not creating certain things. The weight starts to like come off in certain beautiful ways that maybe we're releasing weight, because you don't want to lose weight. When you lose things, you find it. When you lose your keys, you go looking for them and find it again, right? So the weight is released. Certain things happen in your life. The job you didn't get is released, because we're talking relationships and energy, guys. We're talking about how it can really affect all of our lives. Mm-hmm. And so the job you weren't getting, or the clients you weren't getting as an entrepreneur, when you were able to release that other side with love, it opens a whole new flow, because they were part of the energy blockage as well.
Absolutely.
And it's such a beautiful thing. So don't get so angry at that's happened. Allow it to be what it was. Learn the lessons, look in the mirror. But then as well, don't be so like afraid to love again, get into relationships again, and don't judge others as well for thinking that, well, they just think they're too good. They've been doing their work as well. And if you're not the one, honor the fact that that person hasn't chosen you to be in their life. Honor it. There's a reason for it.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you. And then here I say, like you say, don't get angry on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. However, if you have pain, feel through it.
Amen. Yes, you do deserve that.
Because you need to feel it to heal it. And then once there are some wise men who said, if you love fully, and if you hate fully. So you need to feel it so deep, because once you reach, I talked about the 2-dimension earlier. So once you reach that deep hate here, you just connect to the love, so feel it to heal it. Don't suppress it. Don't repress it. Don't try to express it too much, because when you express, you repress a part. Feel it and then let it go.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I do agree with you 100%. People, you deserve to honor what you're feeling. When we suppress things, they just become like bubbles that we push down. But guess what? What happens with bubbles? What happens with a beach ball if you try to push it down to the bottom of the ocean? If somebody cuts the chain that was weighting it down, that air bubble is going to still come back up.
Yeah.
And it's going to be there, and you're going to have to deal with it. So when we suppress things, we don't really ever release them. Yeah. And so you do deserve, and this is a human journey. We are on a human journey. So as we are on this human journey, allow yourself to be human. Allow yourself to go through the emotions. Allow yourself to go through all your different feelings, because that's the only way we really can start to ascend as well, because there's lessons from our emotions as well.
Oh, yeah. Actually, there is a lot of information in negative and positive emotion. And I talked earlier about the second mirror, what you are charged, what you judge, you attract what you judge, or what you have charge on. So if you don't release something, that's charge. So you will keep attracting it.
Yeah. Well, before we get off, what are some tips you would tell people? Because we're going to come back on. Ayub's going to be back on here. I want to see your guys' likes, your hearts, your emojis, everything else. Please comment how this may have helped you, what you want us to talk about in future as well, how we can assist you and help you, because that's why we're here. It's not just about us. We could get on a video chat and just talk amongst ourselves. We're here to try to help you as well. And we're being real with you and trying to help you from real experiences and real lessons that even we've learned on our own journey, or we've learned vicariously through life as well. But what are some different things that you can say, Ayub, as people are wanting to start a new relationship? And I know you and I are both saying, start with you first, start with your own relationship with self first, and self-love and self-understanding. Mm-hmm. But after that, when you think you're there, once you think you're ready to start looking for a relationship, how do you get your feet wet in the water again? What's your tips?
Yes. So we talked about setting your intention, knowing the type of person you want. You can go into the nitty-gritty details. You can say, I want a person 5.6 feet, etc., etc. I want people to get clear, because that's the first step of creation. Okay. So set an intention. we said that your past is from the past, you need to heal it, otherwise you will keep repeating it. So your past is from the past. Now you need to work on your fears, you work on your negative self talks, and also you need to understand certain fundamental differences between men and women, between masculine and feminine, in order for you to get the right judgment and say the right thing at the right moment. You know, I wrote this ebook called Crash Your Crash, and it's actually 35 principle like to master your dating life. And it came to me because I saw that a lot of people are suffering through the process. And the one thing I said, that it is not important that if you don't meet that specific person, or if you don't get the number of specific person, or if you don't go out on a date with a specific person, the most important is your peace of mind and your happiness. And my goal is, by teaching these principles, and I hope what we share today, it's basically make people understand that that's the number one goal. Okay, so now for the tips. As you see, you gotta master some fundamental differences between men and women. You gotta master some fundamental skills in interaction and communication, whether now we are in a different era, so social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram stories, now there is TikTok.
So many.
Like, so what you do with that, how you actually behave on social media, and then self mastery, because now we can women experience this a lot. Like, for example, someone asks her out or asks for her number, and she says no, and the guy can't actually hold it back. He doesn't say okay, that's fine. They basically go and say like, why you don't want to go, something like that. And that's related to self-control. So that's what I meant by self-mastery. So you gotta master yourself, master the communication side, and understand some fundamental basic differences between men and women, feminine and masculine, which we
I
can
think, and
talk
I love
about.
how you, I love how you remind people, and I work with my clients all the time and reminding them that feminine, masculine is within men. Feminine, masculine is within women as well.
Yeah.
So when you're saying learn about men, learn about women, learn about men if you're a woman, but learn about women as well. And also learn about the feminine and masculine. Just like men, we need to learn about women. If you're a man, you need to learn about the opposite sex, but you also need to learn about men. And this goes towards how we were talking about homosexual, heterosexual. It doesn't matter what your gender, what your preference is. It's about learning about how people are as humans, because there's certain characteristics that go along with men. You may not be the typical men, but the more you study other men, and let's say your interest is women and women are interested in you, then you will understand maybe more so their perception as well of how they might consider you. Because remember, you are just a man. You are a man to them amongst first sight. You might be a good looking man. You might be, it doesn't matter what your shape is, what your size is, what your color is. There is a stereotype that a man may be this way in a woman's mind. Also, a man, in generalities, there are stereotypes of how women may be. It doesn't matter about gender, it doesn't matter about color, it doesn't matter about ethnicity, it doesn't matter about any of that, but there's stereotypes, and we're all programmed to these stereotypes. As liberal as you may be, as open as you may be, as loving as we may be, we're still programmed in certain ways. So I think it's very important. I love how you say, learn about men, learn about women, but then remember, we all have feminine and masculine energies within.
Yes.
And if we can learn that, we can come into a much more balanced way within ourselves first, learning our own self.
Exactly. You need to know your core essence. You can be a man with a more masculine essence. You can be a man with a more feminine essence. You can be a man with a balanced essence, and women same. You can be a woman in your feminine, it can be a woman more masculine, or you can be balanced. So balanced attract balanced, masculine attract feminine, and vice versa. So what I say, yes, understand that, understand what do you like, what you don't like, understand what are the characteristics of both polarities, so you actually be able to manage your expectation and avoid disappointment. Because even if you go into a relationship, you as a man, you will go into phases, more masculine phases, more feminine phases. Your women will go into the same, because there is a law of conservation of polarity. So basically, a woman will matches always the missing polarity. So if a man in his masculine, women will be in feminine. If the man started drifting, she has to go there into masculine. Otherwise, the attraction will disappear. We can talk about this in a different.
Definitely will, but I think that big aha moment, though, as well here at the end is the fact of where you're saying if you get balanced with all that knowledge and all of that energy, that's what you attract, is another balanced, knowledgeable person into a relationship.
So what we say is, I won't actually call it balance, because if you are a balance between masculine and feminine, you are balanced. But if, for example, you are a man masculine, you need to cultivate the feminine.
Yeah.
That's a difference. You are not going to be balanced. You will have a core essence as a masculine, but you cultivate the feminine side polarity in you. That's what I wanted to actually explain this, because it is important. Personally, I have gone through that. And that's part of balancing left brain, right brains, logic and feelings. You know, like before that, I was always in my head. I can't feel what's around me, but also I can't connect deeply with people. But once I balance, I try to cultivate the feminine side. I was able to live and experience life in a very different way. And to be honest, it's more delicious.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, it is much more delicious. I mean, even for a woman, if you get more in touch with your masculine side and cultivate that as well. And that's where I say maybe coming into balance, it's your balance, your unique balance for you, because you do have polarities, right? And those polarities are just like in science, because I'm science-based, you are science-based as well. Like we talk about magnets, right? Magnets, the positive and negative magnets are going to pull each other, the different polarities. So they're going to come together, but you want a more balanced and cultivated on their side emotionally, and a more balanced and cultivated on the other side of that other polarity, that it will bring a more fruitful, delicious relationship. And that's what everyone deserves. Yeah. So that's really one of the things, Ayub, and I wanted to be here to talk about with you all tonight, to share with you in regards to relationships and energy. Ayub, where can everyone, I mean, I think you're amazing. I think you're awesome. I think you're great. I am so glad that we have friends that have connected us. And when we were chit-chatting, I said, wait a second, you want to come on Enlightened Circles? Let's talk about this. I know you've got your book coming up. Where do people find you?
Yes, I hang out in Instagram. I like Instagram. You can see it's at Ayub Youssef, AYUB _ YOUSSEF. You can find me there. Shoot me a text. I would be happy to chat with you. I'll be announcing when my ebook will be out. But I share content in a daily basis. I focus on transition and purpose and relationships.
And he does share amazing, great, inspiring as well, inspirational content for your day, that maybe there's a message there that you just weren't thinking about, that if you're just there. And yes, he does, when he says he hangs out on Instagram more, you can find him on Facebook as well at the same Ayub _ Youssef. But if you really want to find him, go to Instagram, because he's actually my Instagram guru that's getting me through certain things, of even making sure I went live today for the first time on Instagram. You guys can also find these. You can find me at enlightencircles.com, but you can find me on Facebook and YouTube, Enlightened Circles, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. doing a lot more with Instagram and even doing live. So thank you, Ayub, because today was my first live Instagram broadcast as well. Besides, we're doing a Facebook and YouTube here. And we're going to be doing this more often. We're going to be having him on, you guys know, every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time on Enlightened Circles. I'll be here live with you with amazing guests like Ayub. He'll be coming back, and I'm sure there's people cheering in the background saying, yes, bring him back, and let us know what topics. And then don't forget Wednesdays, which is tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern time. Jamie Smill and myself, we do Migrate Your Mindset. So I will be live tomorrow at 12 p.m. Migrate Your Mindset, which we're going to be doing remote healing, which kind of is going to even come in from tonight. We purposely planned it knowing that we were going to have the fabulous Ayub on here. And we're going to be doing a lot of healing. So we're going to be doing DNA healing. We're going to be doing releasing of energy blockages. And we're going to, Jamie is a search engine optimization engineer. He also does that for people, for corporates and entrepreneurs. But we are going to be doing that live tomorrow. He's a healer as well. So we'll be working through so many different things. And we like to bring in real life with business life as well and everything. So if any of you guys are needing some healing going on, you're needing to release some energy blockages, if you can't catch us live at 12 p.m. Eastern time, don't worry. Remember that energy, that healing energy still works. It's always live because energy is always there. Just like everything today, thanks to all of you that got us live on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. But those of you who watch us later, this energy that we've been sharing with you, this healing light that Ayub so brilliantly shines from within to out and shares with his heart and his soul, and myself and all of you that have been here live, it continues with each one of you after that watch this later as well. So thank you to each one of you who have been here a part of this. Thank you, Ayub.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon, but Ayub, don't go anywhere, but we are going to end the broadcast for tonight. Lots of love and energy to everyone else, and we'll see you soon on Enlightened Circles. Make sure your Enlightened Circles are always growing within, and follow Ayub if you haven't been yet, and get some great tips for the day. And lots of love to all of you. Imelda, beautiful night to you as well.
Thank you, Imelda. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me. Yes.